Hi, I'm Jo.
And I'm Sarah, and welcome to episode 14 of the Society of Unpublished Authors podcast.
This podcast is recorded in Western Sydney on the lands of the Darug people. We pay our respects to the original custodians and storytellers of this land and to elders past and present. On this episode, we're keeping going with our Beyond the Book series, and we're going to be talking all about zine making. I attended the Ryde Zine Festival last weekend, and I got to interview 3 different zine makers. We're going to hear from Estee Sarsfield, and she's going to let us know what a zine is and lots of other things about zines. Okay, I'm here at the Ryde Zine Fair, and I'm so excited to be talking to Estee Sarsfield. How are you?
Good,
Now,
thank you, Jo.
For anyone who doesn't know what a zine is, and I'm saying that right, it is zine, isn't it?
It is
not
zine.
Zine. I've heard some
Zine
people
like magazine.
Zine like magazine. What is a zine?
So there's a lot of definitions around what a zine is. I think it's a self-published work, but I think so. There's all these rules kind of about how it should be made of paper, it should be photocopied, it should be stapled. But I think a zine is anything that you call a zine, like an artwork.
Yeah,
if
right.
you call an artwork, yeah.
Okay, so the zine rules are kind of made to be broken.
They're made to be broken.
And I love that there's like a handmade element. Where did the sort of history of zines start?
Okay, so zines have been around since the 1930s. So they started around science fiction fanzines. So fans of science fiction writing would communicate with each other through zines. So they'd write letters to each other, they'd discuss books, they'd write like fan writing.
Yeah. So if there were no photocopiers back then, how did people reproduce the zine? Because a lot of them are photocopied, is that right?
A lot of them are photocopied.
Or they just hand make each
I
individual
don't
one?
actually know.
Yeah. It's
Was there a form of...
Maybe those old
reproducing?
Gestetner things we had in primary school. Yeah. And you make zines yourself. Do you have a particular type of zine that you make, or...?
I do a lot of illustration and collage. I think zines are great in that they're just such a form of play and experimenting, and they can be really handmade.
And do you need to have words and pictures in a zine, or can you have just one or just the other?
There's no rules at all. So I know someone who was on a panel where someone said that zines have to be made of paper. And so she was really upset by that and went away and made zines out of pebbles.
Love that. And you can have e-zines too, can't you?
You can have e-zines. Yeah, okay. You can have. It's just another way of getting your work out there without it kind of being edited by someone else or moderated by someone else.
Yeah. So speaking of getting your work out there, you are an illustrator and you have recently published your very first picture book. Do you think the zine making helped with that? And can you tell us about your book?
Yeah, so the book is Being Indie, written by Zoe Gaetians and published by Westwards. And I think zine making did help in that it is a publication. You're thinking about storytelling. There's a certain number of pages and you're working with that. But also a very different thing. And I think I probably need to treat my book illustration more like zines and just loosen up a bit.
Yeah.
And
so you mentioned play before. Get back to
play.
that sort of playful idea. Yeah, I love that. And we are at the Ryde Zine Fair today. I've never been to a zine fair before. Is this typical, or tell us what sort of happens?
Yeah, so this is a great turnout here today. So there's a lot of zine fairs popping up at the moment. There's more and more, which is great. I organise the Blue Mountain Zine Fair, which happens first weekend in May each year. And it's just such a good community event. There's a big thing about zines, the definition of zines, is that they're made for love and not for profit. And so that is really the energy here today. That
is absolutely beautiful. All right, I better let you go because I can see some people hovering around your stall. I better let you get back to your stall. Thank you so much for talking to us, and have an amazing zine fair.
Thank you. You too. Enjoy.
So, Jo, it was your first time going to a zine fair. What was it like?
It was the most incredible experience. I had the best day. It was absolutely full of people who are creative, who are putting their voices out there in these zines. The crowd was massive. Everyone was chatty and friendly. I bought so many zines on so many different topics. I bought like zines about writing and bugs and Aldi wines and musicians and politics, and there was just literally zines about everything. And I really loved the fact that, just thinking about this whole publish thing and being chosen and being rejected and all these things that we've been talking about over previous weeks, when you're putting out a zine, no one's choosing you, no one's editing you, no one's publishing you. They are self-published, they are handmade. And I love that you can have your own thoughts, your own ideas, your own art, and you can just put it straight out into the world. Like, I'm handing over my $3, a lot of them were, a couple of dollars, straight to the creator, and they're handing me back this absolutely beautiful handmade little piece of their soul. I absolutely loved it.
And it was so awesome to see so many are handwritten, so you can actually see the words that the author wrote.
It's very AI free, let me tell
Yes.
you. Well, that was one of the really good things about it. And I hadn't really heard of a zine fair until we started thinking about this, but zine fairs are actually reasonably common. And there is a creator called CJ Makes Comics, and they have made something called the Zine Map. So you can click on it and you can find zine fairs, you can find libraries, and you can find zine stores and events all around the world where you can find zines. So if you go to zinemap.com or you go to CJ Makes Comics at Instagram, you can find out all about the zine map. And another interesting thing I found out this week is that some libraries actually loan out zines. And I happened to be at City of Sydney Library at Green Square on Monday for a meeting, and they have a zine collection. So I joined City of Sydney Libraries and I borrowed a whole bunch of zines, which I brought home as well. So my house is just like zines everywhere now. I'm just loving it.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Is there a difference between the ones you got at the library and the handmade ones, or are they zines kind of follow the same format regardless?
Oh, look, I don't know that much about them to be sort of commenting on any technicalities, but some of the ones I saw at the library are ones that I also saw at the Zine Fair from the same creators. And we actually had a chat to one of the librarians. She wasn't the person that purchases the zines, but she said she does believe that the librarians sometimes go to zine fairs, because we were sort of thinking, how do you source these? Where do you get them from? And they do sometimes go to zine fairs as well, which is really cool.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, and so you can self-publish your zines, but there are also small companies who publish zines on behalf of other people. And the next person I chatted to at the Zine Fair was Annie Huang. I only had a very quick chat to her because she was about to run a very busy workshop all about zine making. She had to dash off, but she had time for a really quick chat for me, and this is what Annie had to say. Okay, I'm here with Annie Huang. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your zine making in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I run a indie publishing house called TAKEON Publishing. I publish my own work as well as other people's work, and a magazine called Bud Life Magazine that comes out every season.
Amazing. And what advice would you give to people who want to start out making zines?
I would say when you're starting out to just trust your own creative instincts and make things that you want to see in the world, because there are always gaps in what is already existing, and you have to trust that what you want to see out in the world that you haven't seen yet needs to exist.
So other people will probably want to see that.
100%.
Yeah, I love that. And where can people find your work and your zines online?
Yeah, so you can find me online at Annie and the Motions. You can find TAKEON Publishing on takeonpublishing.com, and that's got our whole catalogue of everything that I've made and that I sell at the moment. You can find out more about Bud Life Magazine at budlifemagazine.com.
Amazing. Well, have a great festival, and thank you so much for talking to us.
Easy as. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Now, I love what Annie said about making things that you would find interesting and others might find them interesting too. Sarah, you've had a good look through all these zines here and you've picked a favourite. Do you want to share with us what your favourite zine is from this massive collection?
Well, this zine was actually a gift from you to me. Look, it's called Aldi Wines, A Connoisseur's Guide, and the front is a collage of all the Aldi wines. It's by Kate Dunn. Great job, Kate. Each page has a picture of an Aldi wine with a price, and then she's given her feedback. And if you maybe think I have nothing to say or I have no ideas, write what you know. Yeah. And I think Kate knows these wines really well, and she has really good feedback, and it's funny and it's lighthearted and it looks really cute. So
Yeah.
Maybe there is a zine out there for everyone because this is for me.
Yeah, totally. That's what I think. Like, this is something for everyone. And I've got just the biggest assortment of zines here, and we'll put some photos up on Insta. And another really interesting thing about all these zines is that they can just be such a reflection of people's passions and interests. And the third creator that I spoke to is someone called Samuel McEwen, who is a musician, and he's written all these fantastic mini comics and zines about his favorite musicians. And I apologize, Samuel, I kept calling them zines and you kept calling them comics. I do not actually know what the difference is between a zine and a comic, being a total newbie, but this is what Samuel had to say. And we will also put a photo up of his beautiful comics or zines up on Insta. Thanks, Samuel. Okay, I'm here with Samuel McEwen. Samuel, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you make and the inspiration behind your zines?
Yeah, hi. So I do comics. I sort of do a bunch of autobiographical comics, and I've been doing that for like nearly 15 years now. And I also do a bunch of mini comics about my favourite bands, my favourite albums.
So it looks like there's a real intersection between your love of music and your zine making, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I started doing the mini comics on bands about 10 years ago. The first one is celebrating 10 years this year, which is wild to think about. And yeah, I just wanted to share my love for these albums with people and, you know, a bit of behind the scenes of where they came from, how they were recorded, their reception at the time, all that sort of stuff. And then for my autobio comics, a lot of them revolve around music as well. A lot of the earlier stories I did were about going to gigs, seeing bands in and around Sydney, and sort of, yeah, the feeling and the experience of that.
Yeah. And have you shared any of your zines with the musicians that they are about?
Yeah, I have actually. I've done one about the Go-Betweens, and I've shared that with Robert Forster. I gave him a copy, and I got him to sign a copy for me as well, so that's framed up on my wall. And also Paul Kelly as well. I met Paul Kelly at like an event once. I did the same thing. But I also think Paul Kelly got his hands on it before I gave it to him. His ex-manager bought a copy at a record shop once, and then he hit me up on Instagram being like, hey, I've given this to Paul. And I was like, I hope he likes it. But yeah.
That is so cool. That is amazing. Thank you for that. And if people want to check out your stuff, where can they find you online?
Yeah, best place is Instagram, Samuel McEwen Art. That's MCEWEN. Yeah, hit me up there, and there's links. You can read them all on my Instagram for free, or if you'd like to purchase them, there's a link in my bio there to buy them.
Yep. Amazing. Thanks for talking to us, and have a great rest of the Zine Fair.
Thank you. Thanks for the chat.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Samuel. Joe, if anyone is interested in getting involved or going to a zine fair, can you tell us about any upcoming?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as I said, I'm not an expert, but I have got some information here. So coming up in November is the SCAMP Comics Festival, and that will be on the 21st and 22nd of November. There's also very soon coming up on the Central Coast, the Central Coast Zine Fair, which will be at Gosford Library on the 18th of July, I believe. And also, if you go to the Museum of Contemporary Art website, there's a whole lot of stuff about zines there. Some of the history, there's some of the creators talking about zines, and there's also some little tutorials about making zines. And I have done zine making with kids in the library. It's such an easy, accessible thing to do with anyone. It's basically zero cost because everyone's got paper, everyone's got scissors, everyone's got glue, everyone's got whatever. It's just a really easy, accessible art form, I think, for people to get involved in.
Awesome.
And we are going to make the Society of Unpublished Authors zine. And we're going to make that available to our listeners. If you would like a copy of that, we'll save it as a PDF. We won't print one out and send it to you because sending a letter costs like $2 or something nowadays, sorry. But we'll put that up on our socials once we've made our little zine, and we might put some tips and things that we've learnt from our guests and some of our episodes over the past 14 episodes and make that into a zine. I think that's going to be our challenge.
Yeah, so look out for that on socials.
You have to help, Sarah.
I've never made a zine before.
Now's the time. We will put photos up and links up to everything that we've spoken about today. Thank you to the 3 creators who spoke to me at the Zine Fair. And if you have never read a zine or really found out much about them, I really encourage everyone to do that. It's just a really, really interesting art form, and I've loved just diving deep into zines the past couple of weeks.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone.
That's it from us this week. You can find links to everything we've spoken about today on our website, thesocietyofunpublishedauthors.com.
And you can find us both on Instagram at joe_diggs and author Sarah Della Piedra. And our Instagram for the podcast is the Society of Unpublished Authors.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.